Let's be real, we've all had that moment with AI where you just go, wow, the way it can write, the way it can talk, it feels almost magical. But what if it's just a really, really good magic trick? Today, we're diving into a powerful warning from scientist Kim Myung-ho, who says we might be getting fooled by one of the most convincing performances in history. You know the feeling. You ask an LLM to write a poem, and it spits out something beautiful. You ask it to explain quantum physics, and it sounds like a professor. It just feels smart, right? It's so fluent, so human-like. But here's the big question we're tackling today. Is that feeling telling us the truth, or is it all just a very clever illusion? And this quote from Kim Myung-ho absolutely nails his entire argument. He calls what we're seeing a simulacrum. Now that's a fancy word, but what it really means is a copy, an imitation that looks incredibly real on the outside, but is totally empty on the inside. A perfect shell with nothing in it. Okay, so let's dig into that idea of a simulacrum. What does he actually mean by that? We're about to unpack why he argues that these superfluent models, well, they don't really understand a single word they're saying. So a simulacrum is an imitation that's missing the most important part of the original thing. Think of it like this. LMMs have perfectly copied the style of human language, the words, the grammar, the tone, but they're missing the original substance, which is, everything else, the real thinking, feeling, and understanding that goes on in our heads. So what's actually missing from this picture? Well, according to the author, pretty much everything that truly counts. These models are basically just next-level statistical guessers. They don't understand anything. They don't have memories or learn from experience in the world. So when an AI says something like, you're right, I made a mistake, it's not actually realizing it was wrong. Nope, it's just predicting that those are the most statistically likely words to say next. It's a script, not self-awareness. And this leads us to the biggest and frankly most dangerous mistake people are making right now in all the AI hype, thinking that because something is good with words, it must be intelligent. Okay, this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you see the simple, tempting trap we all fall into. Great language skills must equal intelligence. But the author says, look to the right. That's the real story. True intelligence isn't just one thing. It's a whole cocktail of abilities. Language, sure, but also memory, reasoning, interacting with the world. LLMs have gotten really good at that first ingredient, but they're missing the rest of the recipe. And look, this isn't just some academic debate. This mistake has serious, real-world consequences. When a machine sounds confident and authoritative, it's so easy to just believe what it says, even if it's total nonsense. And when we start using these systems in things like medicine or law, who's responsible when it gives bad advice? Who's on the hook? We're taking a huge risk by swapping out real human judgment for something that just sounds the part. So you might be wondering, if these models are so limited, how do their creators explain all the wild, unexpected things they can suddenly do? Well, there's one word that gets thrown around a lot. It's a word that sounds scientific and almost magical. That word is emergence. Now, to be fair, emergence is a real and frankly super cool scientific concept. It's how a bunch of individual ants, each following very simple rules, can create an incredibly complex and intelligent ant colony. Or how billions of neurons, none of which are conscious on their own, somehow create our consciousness. It's when simple parts create a complex whole that you could never have predicted. But here is the author's huge question. When people use the word emergence to talk about AI, are they actually describing a real scientific process they understand? Or is it just a fancy scientific-sounding way to say, we have no idea how it did that, but it's cool, right? Is it science or is it a marketing term? Let's just put this to the test. Compare it to something like Einstein's theory of relativity. Relativity is built on rock-solid math. It makes specific predictions that we can go out and test, and we have. Now look at emergence in AI. There's no math behind it. It doesn't predict anything. It's only ever used after something surprising happens as an explanation. That's not really how science is supposed to work. So the author argues this isn't just a simple misunderstanding. It's way bigger than that. It's a self-reinforcing system, a myth, really, that is built on 3 pillars that just keep the hype train rolling along. Okay, so how does this myth keep itself alive? It's a pretty clever 3-step loop. First, you have policy. All the money, all the resources get funneled into one single idea, just make the models bigger. Then you use philosophy.
You throw around vague words like emergence to justify all that spending and explain away any weird results. The answer is always, it just needs to be bigger. And finally, that locks in the technology. Because all the money and hype is around one thing, only one type of architecture, the transformer, gets all the attention. It's a cycle where hype feeds money, which feeds one type of tech, which creates more hype.
But you know what? This kind of hype cycle isn't new at all. We've seen this movie before. And the author points to a perfect parallel from tech history that teaches us a really important lesson: the open source movement.
Remember the early days of open source? There was this belief that just making software open was a magic wand that would fix all the problems. But it wasn't. As the author puts it, garbage software is just garbage. It doesn't matter if it's open or closed. What actually made open source projects successful was good engineering, good management, and hard work, not the mantra. And the lesson for AI today is crystal clear. Just chanting a mantra like scaling is no substitute for doing the actual rigorous science.
So if the path we're on is built on a myth, what's the right path? Well, the author proposes a pretty clear alternative. It's time for a return to science, to solid foundations.
I love this analogy. He says that trying to build artificial intelligence without understanding cognitive science is like a doctor trying to practice medicine without ever studying anatomy. I mean, can you imagine? You might get lucky here and there, but you're fundamentally working blind. You're trying to fix a body without a map of how it even works.
So here's the proposed roadmap to get AI back on solid ground. First, let's stop using marketing buzzwords and actually define our terms scientifically. Second, let's fund more than just one idea. Let's encourage diverse approaches instead of just pouring everything into scaling. Third, let's get smart and build systems where LLMs are just one piece of the puzzle, not the whole thing. And finally, and this is so important, let's get the AI folks to actually collaborate with the scientists who've been studying real intelligence for decades.
And that really brings us back to the one question at the heart of all this. Look, nobody is saying this technology isn't impressive. It is. It's incredible. The question is, what are we actually looking at? When a machine talks to us with perfect grammar and prose, are we witnessing the birth of a new intelligence? Or are we just seeing a reflection of our own deep desire to believe that we are? The answer we choose, well, that's going to define the entire future of this field.